Good morning and welcome to the University Convocation for Fall 2021. For those of you just joining the Nichols family this semester, my name is Sue Westbrook. I am Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs and Master of Ceremonies for today's program. I want to commend and thank all of the faculty and staff for your professionalism, your teamwork, your feedback, and the many sacrifices made and you continue to make in providing a quality education for our students, especially with the many challenges posed by the COVID pandemic. You all play a critical role in helping us successfully navigate this crisis, and it is no small task, and I salute and thank all of you. As you know, we are facing another wave of increasing COVID-19 infection. As shared with everyone earlier in a written communication from Dr. Jim Henderson, the UL system has responded and issued revised guidelines to inform all 9 University of Louisiana system universities of COVID-19 mitigation efforts and policy built on a hierarchy of guiding principles that Dr. Clune and the leadership team embrace, and I quote, "The health and safety of students, faculty, staff, and our community are paramount. The continuity of learning and research must be maintained, adapting to fulfill Principle 1 as appropriate and necessary. The financial health and viability of the enterprise must be protected and are dependent upon the fulfillment of Principles 1 and 2. The social, emotional, and economic welfare of our communities must be considered and are dependent upon the fulfillment of Principles 1, 2, and 3. We continue to follow the expert guidance of national, state, and local public health officials, and of course, the recommendations of CDC. Because the situation is so fluid, we must be patient as these recommendations tend to change frequently, which makes planning within a university setting challenging. Vaccination remains our greatest defense and our most powerful tool in combating the pandemic, and we encourage everyone, students, faculty, staff, and administrators to heed the advice and get vaccinated. Easy access to vaccination clinics are in various locations throughout the surrounding area and on campus. Clinic schedules are updated and posted on COVID-19 webpage at www.nichols.edu/COVID-19. This fall 2021, universal masking in classroom settings is required for everyone, as well as in all indoor congested areas, regardless of immunization status. Immunized individuals are not required to wear a mask outdoors. From the start of classes through Labor Day, we're beginning the semester with face-to-face class delivery, with deans having the discretion from the start of classes to Labor Day to make a decision as what's best for our students, faculty, and staff. On the academic side of the house, we have accomplished much. Our SAC COC 5th year report is due in March 2022, and Dr. Keller, Renee Hicks, and myself have begun the process of reviewing the drafts of individual reports assigned to the vice presidents, deans, directors, department heads, and various faculty and staff. Renee Hicks and her team have also been implementing our new and self-study software, which was used this academic year for academic program reviews. Academic programs have been entering their learning outcomes and curriculum maps. This software will be used to show compliance with assessment of our academic programs. Also, we are working on utilizing the same software to implement our academic master plan using the annual plan process. Annual goals for this year will be aligned with the academic master plan. At this time, I want to briefly share with you a glimpse of the academic master plan with a snapshot of the accomplishments achieved thus far in spite of the pandemic. Goal 1 of the plan is to enhance existing degree programs and develop new academic initiatives. A new template for the academic program review revised really by the deans under the assistance of Renee Hicks, has been accomplished and used for the first time 2020-2021. Annual plans, again, as I said, the new forms for our annual plans will align with our academic master plan. So that will keep the academic master plan in the forefront of everyone's mind. All processes are linked together in planning and the self-study. We've added many certificates throughout the university. The College of Education and Behavioral Sciences implemented two, certificates. The College of Liberal Arts implemented two, and the College of Business Administration implemented three. These were various undergraduate and graduate certificates, and I'm really grateful for the work in these colleges doing that. The safety degree, which was, it was the petroleum engineering, petroleum services degree, was split into two separate degrees, that being the safety degree in petroleum engineering technology. Business also revised their master's in business administration to be the MBA Your Way, in that it is now offered online as well as face-to-face, or both ways, depending on what the student's needs are. And we're awaiting on approval of the Master of Science in Clinical Nutrition and Dietetics Leadership. For Goal 2 of the Academic Master Plan, which is to increase the images and visibility of the university academic brand, the office has implemented a kernel campaign, a new position in marketing focused on social media was approved. They've also started some using TV ads. Some of you may have seen the Olympic commercial. Also, in reference to this goal, 3 of the colleges have implemented alumni chapters. Some have been existing, others are new. Culinary, education, and the business, College of Business chapters. We've increased internships throughout all of the programs. Every program now has an advisory board. They've started up the Kernel Caravan again, and we're expanding dual enrollment, and also Nichols Online. Goal 3, enriching and stimulating a scholarly environment. We now have esports teams. We're applying for a Title III grant. The library plans now are to centralize academic and student services in the library. We have Crown and Legacy Leaders. We also have Living Communities in South Babington for Crown and our honors students that will start this fall. We have a Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer for expanding diversity and inclusion across our campus community and keeping that as a prime goal that we should have. We also have institutional learning outcomes that I will share with you, and also will be shared later in the program with Dr. Kaiser Young. And this is all part of our general education reform. The 4th goal is comprehensive service. These are the institutional learning outcomes. We'll go over those in more detail later. Goal 4 is the comprehensive service to faculty. One thing we're also very proud of is the development of the Center for Teaching Excellence under Dr. Amy Hollander. We've increased teaching technology resources. We've done a 3-week professional development high-flex training for faculty last summer. There were 28 different programs, including Moodle training that was inclusive of pedagogy, Zoom training, how to pick the right educational technology, and working with neurodiverse students. And also, book clubs were initiated through the Center of Teaching Excellence. I might have gotten a bit ahead of myself. The salaries also are now at 78% Coupa. New instructor ranks have been approved, senior instructor and distinguished instructor, and we're also reviewing the PPM currently because there are many revisions that we need to get in and update the PPM. Under Goal 5, exceptional teaching learning environments, there have been a number of grants outside of our research grants that have been applied for and also funded. I've asked Dr. Keller to review with all of you the various grants. Last spring we did review the research grant, so we won't be repeating that this time. We have the student technology fee upgrade to upgrade our technology across campus. Also, there's been numerous upgrades for virtual learning. The Coastal Center, they're working on obtaining funding for the building of the Coastal Center, and $3.5 million has been awarded as really beginning money for the building from the legislature, and there's been the $500,000 grant received. There's been numerous facilities upgrades and refresh that Dr. Clune will share with all of you, and I know all of you have seen the difference across the campus. We've promoted a safe campus environment. We continue to do that, and one way is we're now in the planning stages of the active shooter protocol to have that defined in all the buildings across campus. Goal 6 is the last goal. It's campus-wide academic culture, emphasizing efficiency, transparency, and service. We have new people, admin that has been purchased. We do work orders online. We do graduation application online. We're waiting the new DocuSign that's coming soon. We now have a Title IX director and liaisons appointed, and we have we have a student registration plan ahead. It's a plan ahead event that's going to be very good for the students electronically. They'll be able to do that. Now, objectives 3.5 of the academic master plan was to promote the development of broad competencies in students by adopting institutional learning outcomes aligned with the general education and program learning outcomes. Under the direction of Dr. Kaiser Young, faculty across the campus who attended the SAC-COC training for this purpose developed 5 outcomes for general education focused on what all Nichols graduates should know, and those are namely communication, critical and innovative thinking, ethical reasoning, information and technology literacy, and quantitative reasoning. These 5 institutional learning outcomes must be assessed not only in the general education curriculum, but must also be pervasive throughout the student's curricular degree program. It is believed by assessing these outcomes of our students throughout the student's academic journey, this will better ensure mastery of these learning outcomes of our graduates. Dr. Kaiser Young will be discussing the implications of the new institutional learning outcomes later in today's program, and I would like to see more conversation amongst the faculty this academic year on this topic to ensure clarity and understanding by all of what is required and how the institutional learning outcomes can be measured and assessed in the individual programs of study. We are looking forward to a productive fall semester. Our main goal continues to be a strong focus on the mission and vision of the university by providing quality accredited academic programs in a safe environment for all. Additionally, we will continue our focus on the success of our students for increasing retention and progression to degree attainment. Nichols is known for the quality, cost-effective education we provide, and we will continue to honor that commitment. At this time, what everyone's been waiting for is to hear our 6th president, Dr. Clune, deliver the State of the University address, and I invite him to the podium.
Thank you, Dr. Westbrook. I'm not sure everybody's excited about this, but I do want to say thank you for welcoming Allison, the family. It's been more than 3 years ago, if you can believe it, and it's been the best 3.5 years of our lives, despite the COVID-19 situation. And I am sorry that you're returning to a fall where COVID again is surging in our region. It's challenging our hopes, our aspirations for a normal fall semester. You've been through so much already. I know that. I appreciate that. I am forever in your debt for your commitment, your dedication to Nicholls State University. This past year and a half has been among the most difficult ever for higher education. And I know you have been among the most impacted by most of the changes. I see the countless extra hours you put in, the professional development you do, the move to high flex format to maintain student contact, the recorded lectures, the makeup exams, and I could go on and on. This summer, we saw a glimmer of hope. We saw the return of Manning Passing Academy to town, the offensive and defensive lineman camp, several high school football teams, several bands came to our campus. Things seemed to be returning to normal. Then the Delta variant brought us back to reality. We know we do not have enough residents in this state vaccinated. We do not have enough students on this campus vaccinated. As of today, 67% of employees and 38% of students are vaccinated. I will point out that's much higher than the region, both for general vaccination percentages and those ages 18 to 29. But we still need to do better. That is why we have a reinstated mask mandate on campus for all indoor facilities. That is why we have the Louisiana National Guard back on our campus, vaccinating this time as well as testing in the leadership suite behind the union. We are decentralizing decision-making, as Dr. Westbrook pointed out, through these next 2 weeks. We are allowing vice presidents to implement flexible work schedules where necessary and deans to implement flexible attendance modes for classes until Labor Day. We do need every instructor for every face-to-face class to have assigned seating charts this semester. This is critical to contact tracing. If you have not been vaccinated, I strongly encourage you to do so. I know some of you have concerns about vaccines. I can appreciate the fears and hesitations, but we rely on data. I was talking to Allison this morning. Data has no agenda, and data shows that vaccines work. It's unequivocal. They prevent serious illness, hospitalization, and death. 90% of patients in our regional hospitals are unvaccinated. I want to be clear, we cannot mandate the vaccine. In fact, no other university in the state has truly mandated vaccines. They have required them on their vaccine schedules, their immunization schedules that every student needs to start at a university. But in Louisiana, a student can dissent for medical, religious, or philosophical reasons. Louisiana is one of only 15 states in the country where one can opt out for philosophical reasons. Once a vaccine has FDA approval, the Louisiana Department of Health, at the request of the UL system, will add the COVID-19 vaccine to the immunization schedules for all 9 universities in the system, and we expect that FDA approval in the coming weeks. We have an enrollment, and therefore we have a budget challenge going into this fall. Many universities around the country and our peers around the state are experiencing this same combination. We anticipate a decrease in first-time freshmen and also in our retention rate. Our projections are that we'll have 500 fewer students this fall than we had last fall. We equate that to about a $2 million decrease to our budget. With fewer students, we should have fewer classes, we should be using fewer adjuncts, and we should be maximizing in-load enrollments. We have reduced the number of vice presidents this year from 5 to 4. We have shrunk the number of divisions from 5 to 4. We have cut the budgets in almost every category but employee salaries and student scholarships. In those 2 areas, we continue to add to the budget. We can use CARES Act money this year to address loss of revenue. We can also do that to a degree next year, but we must double down on our efforts in recruiting and retaining more students and in identifying alternative sources of revenue going forward. We began what I think is an important reorganization with the elimination of the Division of Enrollment and External Affairs and putting all the directors that are dedicated to recruitment, retention, and graduation into one vertical under Assistant Vice President Renee Hicks. Marketing, communication, and printing is currently in the President's office. The Marketing and Communications Office has been working on their Be a Colonel campaign, as Dr. Westbrook mentioned, as well as campaigns for MBA and Nichols Online, and we're going to extend that to the departments throughout the university. We always talk about three things here: people, places, they live, work, learn, and play in programs. People remain our highest priority. We are using CARES Act money to purchase new, primarily laptop computers with screens and docking stations for all faculty and staff. We expect those in, I think the latest was September-ish, October-ish. Everything's behind. They're still building the machines we ordered months ago. So we can go virtual, be the reason COVID-19 or a hurricane. We're also creating a faculty and staff lounge in Ellender Memorial Library. It's located right to the right of the lobby as you first walk in. The new coffee shop's to the left. The faculty and staff lounge is to the right. It will be in the archives display room. It'll provide a space for faculty and staff to hold meetings, eventually to gather for lunch, or to just get out of the office throughout the year. Our first step is to move archives to the third floor in a newly renovated space. We remain committed to raising pay and to reaching the 80% of the national average, which has always been our goal. This year, everyone will get a 2% raise. Classified staff received their raises in July, supported by an increased mandated cost at the state level. Faculty will receive theirs this month, paid for by legislative act, and unclassified staff will receive theirs in January. That will be paid for by the university. No budget item is more important to me. I realize that as we address pay and we address computers, which were two big liabilities on this campus, we have not adequately addressed professional development and travel. We have work to do in those areas. We talk about places. Belief is if you take care of the people and you take care of the places they live, learn, work, and play, the programs will take care of themselves. As of August, we have nearly $40 million in recently completed, ongoing, and planned physical projects on this campus. Due to a wonderful partnership with BHP, we have been able to renovate North and South Babington over the last year. These facilities had fallen into disuse. They are now serving as quarantine space during COVID-19. To show you the impact of COVID-19, we're using the second two floors of North and South Babington as possible quarantine space, and we're renovating the first floor of South Babington for additional quarantine space, given that the Delta variant is so infectious. This fall, we expect to make significant progress on the $20 million Coastal Center. The new building will go on the corner of Ordoyne and Acadia Drive, right where Coach Tim Rebo has his practice fields, and those will move to the other side of the new football complex. The Bayou Region Incubator will be on the same footprint as the Coastal Center. That'll be on the corner of Ordoyne and Bowie. That's a $3.5 million grant through the Office of Community Development. We have opened the first phase of the Bookball Family Athletic Complex in the South End Zone. While our football team gets a lot of attention with this new facility, it will allow us to benefit all the other sports by moving offices, locker rooms, and meeting space and renovating the old portion of Barker Hall. We expect to begin work on phase 2 of the Bookball Athletic Complex. That is a covered training facility, a 100-yard field that will be used by football, soccer, and other athletes on our campus. That will go out for bid probably in August or September. Ellender Memorial Library is always one of the most popular buildings on our campus. It is the hub. It is the central part of campus. We've been working hard on that space. We have what I think is a world-class maker space going in. If you get a chance, walk into the library, go to the left, but not today. We're installing floors in the new coffee shop right outside the maker space. The Makerspace is a collaborative innovation center with technology, 3D printers in every machine imaginable that is open to all students and all departments on this campus. And I already talked to you about the faculty staff lounge. We'll soon be giving tours of that space. The floor is going in that space this week or next week. We hope to move all offices devoted to recruitment and retention to the first floor of the library, so we have everyone in one space to assure student graduation. We're also nearing the completion of the Snack Greenhouse, the project that is close to Allison's heart, and I try to mention at every event. The building, the brick structure is built through the generosity of Mr. Benny Snack, and the glass structure is going out for bid any day now, and that'll be paid for by the state of Louisiana. There'll be hydroponic gardens kept up by the Bridge to Independence students, and they will supply the culinary students with herbs, spices, and vegetables. With the donation from Lafourche Parish and ConocoPhillips, we have a new farm bridge coming in at the Nichols Farm. This is so important. We have a 277-acre farm, more or less, out there that is devoted to coastal restoration. If you get a chance, find Quentin Fontenot, take your class out to the farm. It is absolutely phenomenal. Colonel's Esports has opened their new facility in the Student Union where the old Colonel's Retreat was. Earlier this summer, they held a camp for young kids in the Bayou region, supported by Lafourche Parish. In this space, they'll hold educational meetings as well as compete in national tournaments. It'll be a gaming lounge that will make the Union a lively place at night. As important as the big budget items are, new or renovated spaces are just as important on this campus. We completed the repainting of Talbot Hall, as many of you have seen, bringing that in line with all the other buildings on our campus, and we are re-roofing Pelche Hall this semester with support through capital outlay, so that building will not leak anymore, but we still have a lot of work to do on our academic buildings. We also put in next year a replacement for Go Hall, recognizing that as one of our most vulnerable buildings on campus. Finally, anyone driving down LA1 can see the progress being made on the Bayou Side renovation project. We're very excited to see the final project. The Friends of Bayou Lafourche are tremendous partners in this effort, and we anticipate the space will enhance our educational, recreational, and cultural experiences. It'll be built in 3 parts. Right now they're working on the kayak pirogue boat launch, and then the middle section and behind the fountain will be a community space with an amphitheater, and as you get toward the Audubon Bridge, that'll be a quiet space, so that'll be an ongoing project. In terms of programs, it's time to develop more programs that our students are demanding. We have looked at the numbers, we have looked at the data, and it's unquestionable that engineering and cybersecurity, computer science are demand, and we are losing students to other schools in the UL system and other schools in the state. Our advancement office is working with local engineers to find donors and establish and maintain an engineering program. Our college deans, led by Dr. Duce, are working together to establish a framework for a cybersecurity program devoted to maritime cyber, ports and vessels, a growing field. We also have plans to bring agriculture back to our campus. This is still in the early stages, but we're talking to Fletcher, we're talking to McNeese State University in a collaborative effort to bring agriculture back. So remember, engineering, computer science, cyber, and agriculture. So as I conclude, I know there's a lot to fear, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of frustration as we head toward the 4th semester under COVID. What faculty can do is take the time to write to your students, encourage them to get vaccinated. Faculty have a tremendous impact on their students. Just a faculty member reaching out and saying, hey, you know, we have field work planned this semester. We have a big research project planned this semester. I want to be face-to-face throughout the semester and realize all of these things. So encourage your students to get vaccinated. Remember, the National Guard is there every day in the leadership suite, 10 to 4:30, and get vaccinated anytime. You can even walk them over if you're on campus. So in conclusion, I want to say be well, get vaccinated, and go Colonels.
Thank you, Dr. Clune. We truly appreciate your leadership, the contributions of Mrs. Clune, and of course the notoriety that has been brought to the campus through Boots Clune.
Thank you. Grab my mask.
Yesterday I had the pleasure of meeting with a group of phenomenal persons who will be joining us this fall on the campus, and that is the new faculty. I'll take this off. That is the new faculty in the colleges and departments across the campus. They are a very energetic group, and they are looking forward to contributing to a wonderful semester. So I'd like to take the opportunity to formally welcome them and introduce them by name to you. From the College of Business Administration, we are being joined by Ms. Stacy Lejeune, Visiting Instructor of Accounting and Finance, as well as Ms. Caitlin Beer, Visiting Assistant Professor in Management and Marketing. From the College of Education and Behavioral Sciences, we will be joined by Dr. Walt Hammerly as an Instructor of Psychology, Counseling, and Family Studies, Dr. Cynthia Dong, Assistant Professor of Teacher Education, and Ms. Amy Lewis, Instructor of Teacher Education. From the College of Liberal Arts, we will be joined by Ms. Marjan Khatibi, Assistant Professor of Art, Dr. Shay Cox, Assistant Professor of History and Geography, Dr. Joseph Tokish, Assistant Professor of History and Geography, Ms. Lisa Gostev, Visiting Assistant Professor of Art, Ms. Lauren Rizzuto, Instructor of English, Modern Languages, and Cultural Studies, Dr. Kayla Hastrup, Assistant Professor of Mass Communication, and Dr. Ben Robichaud, Assistant Professor of Music and Director of Marching Bands. In the College of Nursing, we are joined by Ms. Krista Duplichamp, Instructor of Nursing, and Dr. Lori Gardner, Assistant Professor of Nursing. And finally, from the College of Sciences and Technology, we're joined by Ms. Brittany Foray, Instructor of Biological Sciences, Dr. Timothy Fortune, Assistant Professor of Mathematics, and Ms. Sarah Granier, Instructor of Mathematics. So we definitely want to extend a warm welcome. It's unfortunate that they're not here for you to see their faces, but when you do run across them, please welcome them and offer your support to them. Additionally, today, we would like to recognize the successes of Ms. Debbie Benoit from the Office of Research and Sponsored Programs in her work with academic departments, faculty, and staff who have brought additional funding into the campus through their grant writing efforts in order to strengthen the campus. So I'd like to share with you some of the grants that have been secured this semester. It's coming in a moment. Looks like they can't get to it, so let's see. Okay, came up multiple times there. They would put a Mac up here that I am not familiar with. Okay, so some grant funding across the campus that has been secured through the Office of Research and Sponsored Program, along with the faculty staff of the university. In the College of Education and Behavioral Sciences, they have secured funding from the Child Welfare Family Resource Center, which works with families and children in our region, as well as funding from the Nurse Family Partnership Regional Infant and Early Childhood Mental Health area. That's totaling $660,000 that's coming into the university that provides staff in order to help families and children within our region. Over in the sciences and technology area, they've been very busy working on projects. One of the most very important, and Dr. Clune alluded to this with the Nichols Farm, is running a power line over to the Nichols Farm that will allow them to continue working further and further and further across those 277 acres. They've also secured funding for the Bayou-Lewis Marsh Terrace Phase 4 monitoring to monitor an area of new marshland that's being created to see what the propagation of fishes and other species are there. Additionally, out of the College of Sciences and Technology, they secured a grant to work on the ecology of ridge restoration projects in the Barataria-Terrebonne estuary area. That is a total of $495,000 that once again will allow them to look at the ecology of our area as well as saving our area, because we all know that our marshlands and our coastal line is under threat constantly. Out of the administrative areas, we've been extremely fortunate through the federal government to gain some funding that has helped with increasing the technology infrastructure across the campus, that has helped us to provide professional development to faculty and staff in this new age of teaching during COVID. So through CARES Act funding, we were able to secure money through student relief as well as institutional relief for a total of $14,912,000. And those funds have helped to secure all of what I just talked about with the technology infrastructure as well as professional development. Additionally, a very large grant was received to develop the Bayou Region Incubator, and that's been in the newspaper recently. That was a total of $3.5 million that has come into the university to develop this incubator. We've also received funding through the NCAA for the creation of a Student Athlete Academic Success Center. And this is very important because this is going to help us continue to realize the ongoing changes that Dr. Kloon referred to in Ellender Memorial Library. It will give athletes a very concentrated area where they can pursue their academic strengthening and keep up those excellent grade point averages that our AD, Jonathan Terrell, shared with the new faculty yesterday. And lastly, we've gotten more funding out of CARES Act that was able to allow us to purchase computers that students could loan out, that they could go to the library, check these computers out if they lacked such technology in their personal lives. Additional CARES Act money also funded further technology and faculty development in the total of $364,000. And lastly, and something that's pretty exciting here as we move into the future, through the Volkswagen Environmental Mitigation Trust Fund, we've also secured $24,000 that is going to allow for the installation of some electric vehicle charging stations on the campus that will be available to not only our students and faculty and staff, but also if somebody's on a road trip down the beautiful bayous of Lafourche Parish and they're running a little low on energy, they can duck into the campus, plug in, get a charge, and continue on their journey through Louisiana. So these are all some pretty exciting things that we have going on related to funding. As always, we are extremely grateful for all faculty, staff, administration that participates in grant writing to secure this funding. And we encourage you to work with your department heads and your deans on any ideas that you have for further funding into the university. So at this time, I would like to invite Dr. Westbrook back up to the podium, where she is going to preside over the presentation of awards.
Thank you, Dr. Keller. Okay, through the generosity of Regions Bank, the Office of Academic Affairs has established the Academic Affairs Award for Teaching Excellence. Recipients will receive a one-time stipend of $500, and deans and department heads were asked to nominate faculty from their areas who have met the following criteria: 5 years of consecutive teaching, 5 consecutive years of outstanding student evaluations, and 5 years of outstanding administrative evaluations. And I'm pleased to announce the following recipients. Now, some of these explanations and descriptions of the faculty are lengthy. I did not try to shorten them because I think we do need to showcase our faculty when we have the opportunity to do that. From the College of Business Administration, we have Dr. Tony Chu, Associate Professor of Accounting, Dr. Chu holds the Betsy Ayo Endowed Professorship in Accounting, where he teaches basic and advanced income tax and managerial accounting. He holds the IRS's Volunteer Income Tax Assistance and Tax Counseling for the Elderly certifications and is an enrolled agent with the IRS. A few years ago, Dr. Chu challenged himself to take his courses to a new level through innovative teaching. To that end, he attended several teaching conferences and put what he learned into action. Through this process, he has transformed his teaching. He presented his results in the College of Business lunch and learn lessons, and his data-driven process inspired other business faculty to follow his lead. Dr. Chu gets consistently high evaluations from his students despite teaching difficult subjects. His students report that although income tax is admittedly difficult, he does a great job through unique techniques to make the material easy to understand. One student reported that they were worried about taking a course like advanced income tax, but Dr. Chu made the information relevant. Students report that he is kind and friendly, even willing to stay up late on Zoom to help students finish tax problems. He is often seen in his office coaching a student through a difficult concept. One student noted that he always tells me hello and asks how I'm doing when I pass him in the hallways. Engaged teachers like Dr. Chu help our students feel connected to Nichols both inside and outside of the classroom. This award is to acknowledge his passionate commitment to his students' success. From the College of Education and Behavioral Sciences, Dr. Dennis Giya, Assistant Professor of Teacher Education, better known to his candidates as Coach Giya, serves as an Associate Professor in the Department of Teacher Education in the College of Education and Behavioral Sciences. Dr. Giya coordinates the Secondary Human Performance Education program at Nichols. He is a past Apple Award recipient and is continuously cited by candidates as having a significant impact on their success during their time at Nichols. Dr. Giya utilizes a service learning model in several of his health and PE courses that provide physical education lessons to area youth enrolled at Max Charter School and the Lafourche Magnet classrooms. He has displayed excellence both in and out of the classroom during the 25 years he has been employed at the university and is truly deserving of this honor. From the College of Liberal Arts, Ms. Tricia Rabelais, Associate Professor of Arts. She has a very positive impact on her students, the Department of Art, and the university. She is an outstanding teacher, as shown not only by her student evaluations and administrative evaluations, but as a champion of service learning. Her classes are rigorous and comprehensive, covering layout, hierarchy, topography, client needs, presentation skills, vocabulary, craft, and design history. She asks a great deal of her students, challenging them to produce professional quality work. As a result, Nichols print and web design students have been highly rated by professional designers in portfolio reviews. They compete successfully for their internships and jobs with their peers in South Louisiana. Ms. Rabelais' course materials are comprehensive, well-organized, and well-designed. Syllabi, projects, and evaluation rubrics are thorough and clear. She uses Moodle as an information repository and communication tool for her courses. Each student has a Dropbox folder in which to submit digital files of in-progress and finished work. These submissions are used for individual assessments and are archived for NASAD accreditation and other departmental assessments. In addition to digital copies, Ms. Rabelais requires high-quality, well-crafted physical work for critique and exhibition. Students are also encouraged to submit their work to a website called behance.com, where they have access to design commentary, professional examples of design research, and feedback on their work. Tricia Rabelais has been a champion of service learning for 15 years. Design work produced by students in Ms. Rabelay's class can be seen throughout the region, and they have served over 50 not-for-profit clients in the region, including Crime Stoppers of the Bayou region, the Thibodeau Chamber of Commerce, the Thibodeau Playhouse, St. John's Episcopal Women's Group, Bayou Country Children's Museum, Tawassee, Thibodeau Service League, the Department of Biology, Crown, the Culinary Institute, Bridge to Independence, and many, many others. Tricia's work inside and outside of the classroom is deserving of the Academic Affairs Award for Teaching Excellence. From the College of Nursing, Dr. Marin Olivier, Assistant Professor of Nursing. Dr. Olivier holds the Doctor of Nursing practice, is a board-certified family nurse practitioner, and is most deserving of the Academic Affairs Award for Teaching Excellence. Dr. Olivier has over 14 years of nursing practice, with 6 of those years as a practicing family nurse practitioner. Since 2016, Marin's presence as a faculty in the Department of Nursing has promulgated what engaging the learner truly means. She fulfills the university's mission of providing high-quality educational experiences for students while demonstrating teaching excellence. Marin has an innate ability to bring student learning outcomes to life. Teaching strategies and practices are aligned to those outcomes in a manner whereby students are able to truly grasp learning and transfer it. She has taken a special interest in developing and enhancing learning through teaching activities that include an interactive escape room in the nursing lab experience, case study days, critical thinking challenges, pharmacology blitz, reflective writing, and the use of virtual simulation. Critically, she has identified gaps in nursing education and practice and has formalized the efforts through grant submissions and original research. Her current research is titled Utilizing a Deliberate Practice Model to Improve Quality Cardiopulmonary Resuscitation Knowledge, Psychomotor Skills, and Confidence. She utilizes professional evidence-based resources to develop innovative teaching and hands-on learning activities. Currently, Marin is the course coordinator for health assessment and the adult client, a critical foundations course in the BSN program. Her practice experience better provides our students with insight and that critical edge needed as they progress through the program and care for patients in each clinical experience and onward to practice. Marin also led the transformation of the senior course preceptorship experience in professional nursing, preparing students in their capstone course with a focus on pharmacology, critical thinking, clinical judgment, and intense preparation for the licensure examination. Additionally, Marin also supports the MSN program by teaching and coordinating the family nurse practitioner students' precepted experiences in Nursing 582 and 583, which is Advanced Practice Family Health 1 and Advanced Practice Family Health 2. Dr. Olivier's evaluations show clear examples of her passion, dedication, and her exemplary teaching practices. Her high level of enthusiasm for teaching is evident. She is eager and willing to share her expertise with students and in mentoring new faculty. She is certified as a SAM expert. Additionally, the most recent standardized testing scores in the course she teaches further reflect teaching excellence. For multiple semesters, the standardized HESI exam scores in these courses have exceeded national averages and directly contribute to the BSN program exceeding national NCLEX pass rates. To this, Dr. Olivier has dedicated her personal time outside of class to mentor students for scholarly presentations as a part of Scholars Expo. She also continues to provide individualized instruction to students for NCLEX preparation even after they have graduated from the BSN program. In supporting a spirited campus environment, Dr. Olivier is active both inside and outside of the classroom. She is often found cheering on student athletes during their games on weekends or attending a student performance presentation. Dr. Olivier's contributions to students, teaching, and the nursing profession make her a distinctive recipient of the Academic Affairs Award for Teaching Excellence. From the College of Sciences and Technology, Dr. Chris Balbalan, Associate Professor of Biological Sciences. This fall 2021 recipient of the Academic Affairs Award for Teaching Excellence from the College of Sciences and Technology is outstanding in all areas of academic life, both teaching and those areas that inform good teaching, namely research and service, and regularly receives high-scoring teaching evaluations, both student and supervisory. His name is Dr. Chris Balbalan. Since starting on faculty in the Department of Biological Sciences, Chris has taken ownership of every course he teaches. He began his professional career as an instructor, spending many hours teaching and revising introductory biology courses, and he invariably received excellent course evaluations. Later, he progressed to teaching 400-level courses and immediately improved them by expanding hands-on experiences therein. He eventually became a coordinator of the master's degree program, where his innate sense of curriculum ownership continues to show. Now, in addition to undergraduate teaching, he serves as a mentor and advisor of entire cohorts of thesis-seeking graduate students in biology at Nichols. On most crawfish days, you can find Chris at noontime in the student union giving his annual Crawfish Day lecture, as these days he's not only a state but also an international expert on those crustaceans, an expert we are privileged to have on our campus. As a measure of his teaching excellence, his students are widely becoming experts in the field as well. Chris is energetic and puts a lot of effort and demonstrativeness into his lectures. He strives for performance excellence from his students both within the classroom and beyond its walls. In addition to teaching in the classroom, he teaches numerous students through individualized research experiences. Chris educates the students he mentors on appropriate techniques and training such that they gain valuable scientific and technical experience in advance of fruitful jobs and successful careers. His passion is often noted by students in evaluations, notes of appreciation, reports to his supervisors, and comments to employers of his graduates. His effort, ideas, organization, and energy toward diverse facets of student learning makes his performance routinely excellent and deserving of this recognition. Congratulations to all our awardees of Academic Affairs Award for Teaching Excellence that's sponsored by Region Bank. Additionally, through the generosity of donors who support the university, the Louisiana Board of Regents Endowed Professorships are made available to exemplary faculty to support their continued development in their discipline. The donors choose the discipline they wish to support, and the Board of Regents provides additional monies to strengthen the value of the endowment. This semester, we have 3 Endowed Professorship Award recipients, 3 new ones. The L'Oreal Foundation Endowed Professorship in Nursing is awarded to Ms. Elena Degg, Assistant Professor and BSN Program Coordinator in the Department of Nursing. The Terrebonne General Medical Center Founding Physicians Endowed Professorship in Nursing is awarded to Dr. Raquel Angolio, Assistant Professor and Department Head in the Department of Nursing. And the Minor Sheremy Endowed Professorship in Education is awarded to Dr. Sarah Dempster, Assistant Professor and Clinical Experience Coordinator in the Department of Teacher Education. Congratulations to these recipients of the Endowed Professorships. We would now like to welcome Dr. Michelle Caruso, Vice President for Student Affairs, to present the Apple Awards.
Thank you, Dr. Westbrook. For over 20 years, we have been recognizing teaching faculty for their contribution not just to the student experience, but to the Nichols State student experience. We all know the importance of a holistic approach to student success and the impact that each of us can have on a student's life and a student's persistence by embracing our role in that effort, no matter what our job description says. The faculty nominated for this award are ones that students, student organizations, faculty peers, or staff members shared with us because they felt that that faculty member is a living example of this. From their selection, a committee of students, faculty, and staff met to review the nominations and determine the recipients in each of the categories that reflect the various ways that teaching faculty impact our students. We extend appreciation to this year's selection committee members who were Jean Donegan, Dean of College of Liberal Arts, Dr. Tommy Ponson, Director of Student Compliance, Alex Coe, Director of Residential Living, Christy Tozan Gula, Director of Career and Leadership Development, Ethan Nakan, past President of SGA, and Kirsten Angelet, past President of SPA. The first category is Outstanding Faculty Advisor of a Student Organization. This award is presented to the faculty advisor who has effectively guided an organization. This person will have been diligent in their attendance at organizational functions, will have led the group through difficult problems, will have helped the group to achieve its goals, or will have molded leaders for this particular group. This year's nominees are Melanie Boudreau, Management and Marketing, Kimberly Dozar, Nursing, Dr. Ali Idrizi, Hetsum, Samantha Falgu, Accounting and Finance, Carrie Granier, Nursing, and Ashley Thibodeau, Nursing. This year's recipient is Melanie Boudreau, Management and Marketing. Congratulations. The next category is Outstanding Faculty Mentor. This award is given to the faculty member who has contributed most to an individual student's development, who has encouraged the student to pursue their education or face a particular hardship, who has taken great interest in a student's present or future, or who has personally gone out of their way to help a student in a particular way. This year's nominees are Dr. Sarah Bajeron, Chemistry, Dr. Joshua Cogswell, Management, Dr. John Griffin, Hetsum, Tommy Landry, Nursing, Denise LeBlanc, Nursing, Dr. Raj Nathaniel, Biological Sciences, Dr. Uttam Pakaral, Chemistry, Tricia Rabelais, Graphic Design Art, Lauren Rizzuto, English, Dr. John Lajani, Accounting and Finance, and Dr. Sherry Lawrence, Accounting and Finance. This year's recipient is Dr. Raj Nathaniel, Biological Sciences. Congratulations. Our next category is Outstanding Faculty Support for Student Activities. This award is given to a faculty member who you see everywhere on campus, who regularly attends student performances, athletic events, honors award ceremonies, fraternity and sorority activities, someone who donates their time, materials, or other funds to support student activities, and or who shows visible support for students in a variety of ways. This year's nominees are Carrie Granier, Nursing, and Shelley Mathern, Nursing. And this year's recipient is Shelley Mathern, Nursing. Congratulations. The final category is the Student Affairs Merit Award. This award is given to a faculty whose support of students, student activities, and the Student Affairs mission or Student Affairs goals falls outside of any of the previously described categories. This year's recipient is Colette Robichaud of Nursing. Congratulations. Thank you all for everything you do for all of our students, and we look forward to continued partnerships and collaborations that create our Nicholls State student experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Caruso. And congratulations again to the recipients of the Student Affairs Apple Awards. Mr. Stephen Kinney, Assistant Vice President for Human Resources, Chief Diversity Officer, Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer, and Deputy Title IX Coordinator, will now join us to provide an update on Title IX requirements and their application to Nicholls State University.
Good morning. My name is Stephen Kinney, Assistant Vice President for Human Resources, Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer, and Title IX Coordinator here at Nicholls State University. Title IX has been at the forefront of national media attention over the past few months because of events at other universities around the state. As a result of the current media attention to Title IX, several of our legislators have proposed and passed bills and laws into the Louisiana legislature that will now govern our Title IX efforts on our campus. So this morning I would like to provide you with an overview of the changes to the Title IX culture, not only here at Nicholls State University, but around the state of Louisiana. As we reflect about Title IX, so in May of 2020, the updated federal regulations went into place, and we were required to be in compliance by August of 2020. Again, there was a lot of attention based upon what Title IX was, what Title IX constitutes, and how campuses across the country responded to Title IX incidents on their campuses. As a result, in June, we had 3 acts that were passed. Senator Mazzell proposed, and it was passed into law, a Power-Based Violence on College Campuses and Universities Act. Also, Representative Reiser proposed, and it was passed into law, campus security policies and crime statistics for college campuses. And then Representative Freeman proposed, and it was passed into law, campus safety and accountability. So what does that mean for Title IX and Nicholls State University? The importance of this information. So Nicholls State University, we continue to uphold a commitment to safe and secure living, learning, and academic environments here on our campus. For all of our students, faculty, and staff, we want to make sure that we're cultivating an environment where everyone feels safe and secure, but more importantly, are empowered to report when incidents occur. Any form of discrimination is harmful to the well-being of our community, a community that is a collective effort of all of us. We all play a part in making sure that every one of us are engaged citizens across the campus. And to do that, it takes a collaborative and team effort. The Title IX personnel on our campus will work to ensure that everyone who experiences discrimination feels safe, knows their rights, and know what available resources are out there for them. So before we get into anything, what is Title IX? Title IX of the Education Amendment Act of 1972 states that no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Nicholls State University is a university that receives federal financial assistance, therefore we must comply with the Title IX provisions. As we talk a little bit more about Title IX in the state of Louisiana, I want to kind of go into some details about what that will entail going forward. So the first thing you'll notice is that all Title IX laws and provisions that are currently under review will incorporate the following laws into their policies: Act 439, Act 472, and Act 447. It elevates the safety education as a critical prevention measure for power-based violence on college campuses. And it also acknowledges the importance of systems and campuses in the policy development. What has currently taking place and what currently is going on is our Board of Regents is currently looking at their policies as it relates to Title IX. And because of that, they've incorporated the voice of the college campuses. We had a lot of representatives from different campuses around the state that have been pivotal in helping making sure that these updated policies reflect the lived experiences on the campuses. So that's been very important. The next thing about Title IX going forward in the state of Louisiana is term usage. You'll see terminology such as power-based violence as an overarching term that will be used through new policies and procedures, not only here on Nicholls State University's campus, but across campuses within the state. Also, when you're looking at Title IX currently, the language in how we identify individuals has also changed. So the reporter is the individual who reports sexual misconduct. Where we used to call people victims, now before due process is afforded, we have a complainant. Anyone that alleges that they've been on the receiving end of sexual misconduct becomes a complainant. That is very, very important to remember, because before we identify someone as a victim and someone as a perpetrator, we want to make sure that due process is afforded. The new federal guidelines for Title IX ensures that every party has due process afforded to them. And then the person or individuals that are responding to a claim of Title IX, or sexual misconduct, are called the respondents. So I would ask that everyone familiarize themselves with those terms, such as the reporter, the complainant, and the respondent, to make sure that we're not inappropriately labeling or identifying anyone. And then lastly, as it relates to the state of Louisiana, we're taking a dual policy model. So again, the power-based violence will be an overarching policy that covers sexual misconduct. However, all sexual misconduct will not be covered under the policies and provisions of the new Title IX regulations. So in addition to the power-based violence policy, there will also be a Title IX grievance procedure policy as well that will cover conduct under Title IX. As it relates to Nicholls State University, again, our policy is under review and will be updated in compliance with Acts 472, 439, as well as 447. Some pivotal points of discussion in that policy would cover retaliation, how to report sexual misconduct, training, safety education, data publications, campus security policy, as well as website compliance. One of the things that we have introduced this current semester is that for faculty, we're asking that you put a Title IX statement on your syllabi, identifying that we do have Title IX provisions on our campus, but more importantly, informing students where they can go to find additional information as well as resources. Something that has been a topic of conversation and something that's important for everyone here on campus to know is that responsible employees still exist. More importantly, the definition of who becomes a responsible employee has been expanded. To date, except for confidential resources, all university personnel employed at state colleges and universities are designated as responsible employees. In previous times, responsible employees were designated based upon the campus. They were identified by campus administrators as who were responsible employees. With the passage of the current laws into place in June, all state employees at public universities will become responsible employees. That means each and every one of us. It includes all of our staff, hourly and salary, faculty, instructors, teaching assistants, and any student employee who supervises others. We're all considered responsible employees. As a responsible employee, there is employee mandatory reporting that is governed by Acts 472 and 439. It says an employee who receives a direct statement reporting sexual misconduct or witness of sexual misconduct must report it to the Title IX coordinator. We ask that you identify the individual that was subjected to the alleged conduct, which is the complainant, the identity of the individual or individuals that has subjected the complainant to the alleged conduct, the respondents, the type of conduct that has been alleged, whether it's power-based violence or retaliation, the date, location, and time of the incident, and any other relevant information that was shared with you. For faculty, it becomes critical to know that there are a few exceptions for reporting. Any faculty or staff member that receives information that occurs as a result of a public forum or awareness event, you're not required to report that. If a student, faculty, or staff member decides to tell their story at such a public forum or awareness event, as an employee on campus, you're not required to report that. In the classroom, if as a faculty member you're reviewing a project that was part of academic work where a student identifies that they were a victim or subjected to sexual misconduct, you're not required to report that as long as it is a part of the academic work. And lastly, if you overhear something through the course of eavesdropping, you're not required to report that. One of the things I highlight here is that for the second and third exception, when it's identified in the course of academic work or through eavesdropping, I would encourage you to still take an opportunity to talk to the person and offer them, support and provide them with access to the resources that we have that we'll talk about in a moment on the website. We don't want to just turn a blind eye to it. Even though you're not required to report it, you want to make sure that everyone knows that we have supports and resources here on campus. An employee who falsely or knowingly fails to report may be terminated in accordance with the institution's disciplinary procedures. That is a part of those acts as well. The state of Louisiana is really taking Title IX as it relates to sexual misconduct very important. A best practice for anyone going forward is to inform anyone that's identifying or sharing information with you of your obligation as a mandatory reporter to report it to the university. And if they want to talk in confidence, we do have confidential resources around campus that they can go to without having fear of reporting to the university. So it's always a good practice to say, hey, I understand you want to share something with me, but you have to be aware that I have an obligation to report this to the university, just to make sure that they know what your obligations are, and if they continue to disclose information to you, that you will be required to report it. So your response to disclosure. So what do you do if someone tells you about prohibited conduct? Again, you want to tell them about your responsibility to report the incident. This is the best way to make sure that the individual gets access to the resources that are available. We don't want to use language that blames the person that may be on the receiving end of this. So language such as, well, you shouldn't have been drinking, or do you think you may have led them on? When a person feels empowered and feels safe enough to share something with us, we don't want to make them feel as though they're at fault for any incidents that they may have experienced. You want to ask questions to assess the individual's safety and well-being, but do not try to investigate the matter. We just want to make sure that everyone is safe and feels safe and comfortable in their environment. There are interim measures that we can take if someone feels as though they're in an unsafe environment. So you want to make sure that we assess their safety and well-being. Do not define the experience for them. This is where it's very critical that we listen. Listening is very critical when someone's reporting an alleged incident to us. To say something like, it sounds like you were assaulted, it's kind of planting the seed. Let them define their experience. Do not define it by your own words. Set realistic expectations. Do not make promises such as, that person will be kicked out of school for this. You know, there is a due process that is afforded everyone, and we want to make sure that we go through a fair and due process to all individuals, to all parties that are partaking in any type of investigation. So we don't want to make or set unrealistic expectations. And do not promise confidentiality. You actually cannot promise confidentiality. I put 2 points of note on here. There's a difference between confidentiality and privacy. Confidentiality, when someone is asking for that, says that you're going to take this information and hold it to yourself, or you will not share this with anyone else. And as a mandatory reporter, there are things that you cannot maintain confidentiality around that. However, you can assure individuals that are reporting to you that you will maintain privacy, meaning that you will share that information only on a need-to-know basis. So information will only be disclosed on a need-to-know basis, and that's the primary difference when someone asks for confidentiality, understanding that we as mandatory reporters cannot promise or assure confidentiality, but we can maintain privacy. So just a blurb I put up here. So what do you do if someone tells you about a prohibited conduct? And it says, thank them for sharing the information with me. As a faculty or staff member, I will need to share this information with our Title IX officers. They will reach out to you and offer support and resources, but you are not obligated to meet with them. I pause right there to say, even though you're a mandatory reporter and you report things to the Title IX office, the Title IX office will go ahead and reach out to the individuals involved. They're not required to meet with us. However, the university does have an obligation to review the matter and determine what is the most appropriate steps to take after that. But that's something that is a safeguard to let people know that we have to report this. However, when they reach out to you, you're not required to meet with them. They will also let you know about your options, such as requesting the university investigate or reporting the incident to law enforcement. Would you like me to go with you? This is where that partnership comes into place, that collaborative effort, that sense of community comes there. To report sexual misconduct it could be a fearful experience for many individuals. If they feel comfortable enough sharing this with you, offer to go with them to the Title IX office, offer to them to be that support system for them. Or you can collaborate with them on sending the report together. Or you can just file it by yourself. So give them those options and figure out what is the most comfortable and what is most ideal for them. We want to make sure that we give a sense of empowerment to all individuals on our campus where there's not any hesitation or reservations about coming forward. So this helps empower them, letting them know that, hey, I appreciate you sharing this information with me. I'm going to support you through this process as well. So what do you do if someone tells you they've already reported the incident to the Title IX officer? You're still required to make a report yourself. That makes sure that there's safeguards that the information has been shared. Because sometimes the person says, oh, I've already reported, so there's nothing for you to do. As a mandatory reporter, you are still required to report the information over. If there is someone else in your department or someone else that, this information is shared with simultaneously with you, when you submit the report to the Title IX office, you would copy that person on the report that as well, and it means only one report is being made and both parties are covered. So as a responsible employee, if you and another individual learn of this information together, You only send one report, making sure that you copy both parties on the other party on the report. That lets the Title IX office know that both of these individuals were privy to the information, and this one report satisfies both of those reporting requirements. What happens if you learn about additional information after you submit the report to Title IX, or submit a report of Title IX? Well, you submit a follow-up report, and in that follow-up report, you would address or acknowledge that this is a follow-up report that's previously submitted. So therefore, the reports will be combined and not create a separate report there. At Nicholls State University, we've always taken a three-pronged approach historically to look at Title IX. We've had a party from the human resources side to make sure that we have the faculty and staff, the employee perspective covered. We've had a party from our student affairs side to make sure the student affairs and student aspect was covered. And then we had a party from athletics to make sure that athletics was covered as well. This three-pronged approach still remains in place. So myself, now that I'm the designated Title IX coordinator, will still serve. Adrian Nakan Bolton will now be the Deputy Title IX Coordinator representing Student Affairs. And Andrew Kearney will be the Deputy Title IX Coordinator representing Athletics. Now, just because Adrian and Andrew represent, Student Affairs and Athletics respectively, we all work together collaboratively on all Title IX events and activity around campus. So it's not just, okay, Adrian is Student Affairs, you go to Adrian, you can come to any Title IX coordinator, whether it be myself or the deputy coordinators. What we're excited to introduce to you is that in addition to the Title IX coordinator and the deputy Title IX coordinators, that three-person hierarchy that we have there, we've introduced Title IX liaisons around campus. Our Title IX liaisons will be other individuals that will be trained and empowered to provide, triage and assistance to individuals that may have questions or concerns, that just need to know additional information about the Title IX processes. So from the Division of Finance and Administration, we'll have Alexander Barnes and Danielle Bro. From the Academic Affairs side, we have a Title IX liaison for each college. There are Melanie Boudreau, Carmen Broussard, Michelle Theriot, Raquel Angolio, Stephanie Audemont, and Vivian Ray. From Student Affairs, we have Janice Lynn and Ashley West. And from Athletics, we have Austin Vallant, Caitlin Callahan, and Stephanie Sleekas. So again, all of this information will be updated on the Title IX website. But we want to make sure that we take a more holistic approach in making sure that we have more individuals assisting with the Title IX efforts. The last thing we want is for someone to say, I didn't know who I can go to. So incorporating the Title IX liaisons into the Title IX structure will give us additional hands helping out to ensure that all of our faculty, staff, and students know what resources are available to them. And getting ready to close, how do we report? You can choose the option to report that's best for you. By phone, by email, you can stop by in person, or online. We ask that you share the name of the complainant and any additional information that was shared with you. You will want to report immediately after learning of the information. You don't want too much time to elapse to ensure that we can make an assessment of their safety and well-being and do those initial preliminary discussions with the individual. And again, choose the option that works best for you. One of the things you see on there is reporting online. I am pleased to share with everyone that our new website is up. It is nichols.edu/Title IX. This is the website that has been shared in the Title IX statement that we've asked you to put onto the syllabi. Initially, when we asked and we produced the statement to go into the syllabi, everyone says, hey, the website is not working. It's because we've been working hard to make sure that the website was built and that it was a comprehensive website to give all the tools and resources that we needed. And I would like to thank Jason Graham in marketing and communications that's been very pivotal in helping build the website. So without further ado, here is our new Title IX website. It follows the path of all the other websites, but you'll see there's information about us, policies and procedures. Again, the policies and procedures have not been loaded there. There's some federal guidelines talking about clearing things that have been loaded there. It's because the Board of Regents will not be meeting until next week to finalize their power-based violence policy, which will ultimately have an impact upon the updated policy that we need to put into place here. We will get that updated in accordance with the Board of Regents guidelines. There will be information about prevention and training, reporting options, resources, campus climate surveys once we do those, and then FAQs. Be the change. Title IX has received a lot of negative attention over the past few months because of incidents and campuses' response to incidents at their institutions. We want to be the change. It takes a collaborative effort for all faculty, staff, and students to make sure that we're being a change and setting a safe comfortable environment for all of our students, faculty, and staff here on campus. I thank you, and if there's any questions, feel free to reach out to me via email, stephen.kenny@nichols.edu, or you can email Title9, TITLEIX, @nichols.edu. Thank you, and welcome to Fall 2021.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kinney. We will now have a series of brief but important updates for Mr. Jeremiah Johnson on the Nichols Makerspace, Mr. Sam Cagle, Chief Information Officer on Cybersecurity, and from Mr. Terry Breaux, Vice President for Finance and Administration on the importance of every student at Nichols State University, and Renee Hicks, Assistant Vice President for Institutional Effectiveness, Access, and Success, will follow with an update on the university strategic planning and institutional effectiveness.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Jeremiah Johnson. I'm the director of the Hub at Makerspace here at Nichols State University. The Hub is located in the library on the first floor on the left side of the building. Beginning next week, we will start with a soft opening for the month, and I'll be available from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. on Monday through Friday. What we have to offer is access to technological and industrial equipment and training to make a full range of projects from 3D printing to woodworking, vinyl stickers, metals, electronic repairs, picture framing, bookmaking, and much, much more. Our website can be found when you type in the Hub under the Nichols search bar. It will provide you with all the information you need to get started under the safety section of the website. Faculty can utilize the Hub for class projects in two ways. You can email the Hub to schedule a group or class demonstration where you bring the entire class in, or send an email to let us know that the students will be coming in for individualized training to work on class projects. Be aware that faculty and the students may need training and testing before using the equipment, so consider this in your schedule. Most training can be done online through the website. Some materials are free, but students may be required to purchase others or bring in their own materials depending on the project. Materials are available at cost for personal projects as well. I want to encourage you to visit the space or contact us if you have any questions and would like to know more about what we have to offer, or would like to schedule a tour or a presentation for your class. There's two ways to contact us. You can either email me, jeremiah.johnson@nichols.edu, or just simply thehub@nichols.edu. I want to thank you for your time, and I look forward to working with you soon.
Good morning, everyone. Now more than ever, we're relying on technology and access to computer systems to function as a university. And I'd like to take a few minutes to discuss three of the most pressing cybersecurity issues that we face. Those issues are phishing, malware and ransomware, and weak passwords. "78% of all cybersecurity incidents involve phishing of some type. In general, phishing boils down to tricking you into giving personal information or access to systems through unsolicited messages. These messages could be in the form of emails, text messages, or phone calls. Regardless of the method of contact, the criminal behind the message is seeking information like passwords, banking information, social security numbers, anything that can give them your access or access to your information will be a benefit for them. Once they have your information, their goal is to turn it into a profit, whether it's your personal information used for identity theft, or whether it's for work information used to access and compromise campus systems. We often think we would never fall for it, but at least once a semester, we have an employee or student who has to deal with a very real identity theft situation due to a phishing attack. So, what do we need to be on the lookout for? First, who's the message from? Look closely at your emails for fake email addresses or text messages from unknown phone numbers or phone calls from unknown phone numbers. You can hover over the email address and see the actual address that's behind the fake email address if you'd like. Also, pay attention to when the message is sent. If you receive an email from someone in Human Resources at 3 a.m., you probably need to be very suspicious. Pay attention to the writing. You may see misspellings, bad grammar, or lack of punctuation. In addition, these criminals like to tap into our fears or create a sense of urgency that something bad will happen if we don't respond. Once the fear or urgency kicks in, we are very much more likely to miss the signs above and make mistakes. The important thing to remember is unknown or unusual equals suspicious. To avoid getting hooked by a suspicious message, in addition to being on the lookout for the previous indicators, there are best practices to avoid being hooked by a phishing attack. Never open attachments unless you're expecting the attachment and you know the contents of the attachment. Within the body of the email, don't click on links, don't click on ads, don't click on images. All of these links will direct you to a malicious site that will either attempt to steal your identity or install malicious software in your system. Most importantly, in regards to phishing, never give out personal information in response to a message or a phone call. If you do receive a suspicious message through your Nichols email address, please report it by forwarding the email to helpdesk@nichols.edu for evaluation, and someone will follow up with you to discuss the threat level. One thing I would like to remind everyone, just receiving an email that you think is suspicious, forwarding it on to someone for evaluation won't do any harm as long as you don't click on anything in the message or act on anything in the message. So please forward those on to us. Because by reporting the message, we can determine if others receive the same message, we can remove the suspicious message from other users' inboxes, and we can also block the message from future deliveries to our campus users. If you get phished, it happens. In fact, it happens through our campus email system several times a year to employees and students. We let our guard down and we get phished. What do we do? First and most important, change any passwords that were provided through the phishing attack as soon as possible. And again, please report the incident by emailing helpdesk@nichols.edu with as many details as you can provide. Things like date, time, subject, sender, the nature of the message, and the information that was stolen through the phishing attack are all important details. Reporting the incident back to IT as quickly as possible will help us to reduce the amount of damage caused by the phishing attack. Now for the issue that keeps me up at night, malware and ransomware. Malware and ransomware can attack a single computer on a personal home network, or on a much larger scale, it can attack every single computer and server in an entire organization's network, and through that attack, bring the organization's operations to a complete stop. Malware and ransomware are really broad terms for a type of malicious software that does damage to your system and prevents you from accessing the information on your own system. In regards to ransomware, the data on your system is locked up until you pay the ransom to have it released by the criminal. Even if you do pay the ransom and regain access to your data, rest assured that the criminal has made a copy of your data and will very likely sell your information to the highest bidder on the dark web. Malware and ransomware are most commonly spread through email and websites that contain embedded links, images, and advertisements with links to the malware. Unfortunately, with malware, you don't know that you've been hit until it's too late, and you discover that you do not have access to your data, and you may even see a message demanding a ransom payment. So for malware and ransomware countermeasures, the first and most important step is keeping our computer systems and devices up to date, especially in regards to security updates. We need to make sure that those are always applied. Next, we need to be sure that our computers have up-to-date antivirus and malware solutions in place. In regards to the first 2 points of prevention, our role in IT is to be sure that every university computer has the appropriate security software in place, and that we attempt to filter out all emails and websites on a university network that may contain malware and ransomware. Even with these safeguards in place, some things still slip through, and we fall back on the most important prevention method: we, the users. As with phishing, we need to stop and think before we click. If you suspect that your computer has been compromised by malware or ransomware, immediately disconnect the computer from the network by disconnecting the cable or turning off the Wi-Fi. And as with a phishing attack, please report the incident to IT at helpdesk@nichols.edu, and we strongly encourage you to also call us at 985-448-4400. Again, reporting quickly allows us to better limit the damage caused by the attack. The final issue I want to discuss is the use of weak passwords. We've all done it. We've all used them. I know I have in the past. But the truth is, weak passwords make our systems vulnerable. Weak passwords allow hackers to access our systems using our own valid login credentials. And the hackers know our tendency is to repeatedly use these passwords across multiple systems and use this against us. Once they have our password, they can get into several systems. When our passwords are compromised, our access is compromised, and the hacker has access to everything that we have access to. It could be our email, banking systems, work-related systems, and much like with malware, we won't know we've been compromised until it's too late and the damage is done. Now for the part that no one likes to hear, but it is a very crucial part of cybersecurity. How do we create and maintain strong passwords? We should use at least 8 characters and mix things up with letters, numbers, and special characters, and including upper and lowercase. We need to avoid using personal information in creating our strong passwords. It's also best not to use common words or phrases. We really need to try to memorize our passwords and never write them down. We need to avoid using the same password across multiple systems. And if at all possible, please try not to save your password or login ID in your browser. This alone will go a long way in helping you to commit your password to memory. So in closing, I'd like to emphasize that we can all create a more secure online environment if we take the time to stop, think, and protect. If you do experience suspicious activity or incidents, please report them to IT as soon as possible. And I also ask that everyone take the time to be sure to complete the mandatory state cybersecurity training offered through the LEO site. Human Resources can provide details on how to access the LEO training. If you have any cybersecurity related questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at helpdesk@nichols.edu. And I thank you for your time and hope you have a great semester.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to fall 2021. The only thing worse than allowing the accountant and chief financial officer to talk to you is allowing to play with technology. Bad stuff. As I was preparing for this morning, and we're going to talk about just briefly how every student counts and that impacts the university, I was reminded of words that are somewhat credited to Mark Twain, and it goes something along the lines of, it's better to keep your mouth shut and be thought a fool rather than open your mouth and prove it. Nonetheless, we were in a meeting amongst the vice presidents, and Dr. Westbrook asked me to talk about every student counts today and just how that can impact the university. So one of the things that I wanted to kind of talk about this morning is budget management. Obviously, we know that the university is funded partially from state appropriation, partially from student fees, tuition, and then obviously another component as well. In the current budget, at $61 million, we are looking at a state appropriation of approximately 24%, or roughly $16 million in fiscal year 22. Tuition and fees, those paid by our students, account for approximately $45 million, or roughly 75, very close to 76% of our operating budget. And then this very, very small sliver is other income. It's some rental income that we may have. It's some interest that we make on deposits and so forth. Very small contribution, approximately less than 1%. So in total, as you can see, and you've seen these slides before, this is nothing new to higher education, certainly nothing new to Nichols. The importance of tuition and fees to our operating budget is critical. The next area I'd like to talk about just briefly is recruitment and retention. Faculty and staff interaction with students obviously helps retention and recruitment. Okay, I can remember 41 years ago, as an incoming freshman, I tried to get into a class that was closed. And this is back in the days, because I'm an old guy, this is back in the days when you actually had to pull cards, walk around the student union, pulling cards for classes and so forth. It wasn't online, it wasn't early, and so forth. So you took your chances. And I was trying to get into one particular class, happened to be a geology class because accountants take easy sciences. And basically, the class was closed. Somebody told me afterwards, go talk to the faculty member, they might let you in. I went and spoke to Dr. Bricky Free, so 41 years ago, I'm thinking of this. The impact that she had, because she basically said, sure, I'll sign it, there's already 75 people in the class, make sure you show up early to get a good seat, signed off on it, and I had Geology 101. That's the kind of impact that our faculty have and our staff as they interact with students, whether they're in the admissions office, the finance office. Students remember those things, and that becomes part of the retention process. It also, however, becomes part of the recruitment process because they're going to be talking to their friends. I don't want to get too far into Renee's lane here, but retention. When we talk about retention, we're talking about those, and we're tracking first-time freshmen. We're looking at those individuals that stayed with us from year to year. Last year, in fall of 20, that was at 75%. The challenges that we're facing now because of COVID and because of other environmental things, we can see that that's dropping down, and I know Renee's going to talk about that. But the importance for today's purpose here on every student counts is when you quantify that, that's probably between 50 and 60 students that have just left the university beyond our control, and they may or may not ever be back. The other part that affects recruitment and retention deals with transfer students. We all, especially the faculty, interact with our transfer students regularly. We know that the number of transfers out exceed the number of transfers in, okay? Part of that has to do with programming. What we need to do is make sure that it's only programming that's pushing them away. It's not that they've chosen another university over us because of something that we are or are not doing. So that's critically important. And then the last point on recruitment and retention that I wanted to mention this morning, is that this is probably more anecdotal, but we know that students influence their peers. Whether they're looking at I wound up at Nichols because a person who was a senior ahead of me when I was a junior went to Nichols, we played tennis together, and he said, hey, how about Nichols as a choice? And so, suddenly I was at Nichols. Those conversations occur regularly, and you as faculty and staff have an effect on the student, and then the student likewise carries that forward in their messaging. The next part I wanted to talk about was ambassadors. We all know that the university as it stands, if you look on a break, if you look at it during times when students are away and faculty and staff are away, we're just buildings. We're a bunch of property with buildings. What makes the university, in fact, is our faculty and staff adding the students, and that becomes Nichols State University. We need to remember that when we're engaging with individuals. Our freshman class, we talked about this before, how those freshmen are going to influence others to become students. So the experience that we share with those freshmen, while they are most influenced by the environment, by everything that they're encountering, that's our real opportunity to sell ourselves and then have them become ambassadors to sell us as well. Returning students, our retention numbers, again, we've seen that once a student becomes acclimated and they've got their feet on the ground and they're comfortable doing things, they likely will become more engaged. Even our commuter students, where we talk about the fact that roughly out of our total population, some 67% of our students are commuters, okay, possibly higher at any given time. Even the commuter students will stick around for an event, whether it's a Greek organization, whether it's a co-curricular activity, and become mentors to other students on campus. So ambassadorship is another component when we talk about every student counts. And then obviously our graduates. They're our success stories, right? They are our alum. They go out, they create professional careers, they talk about the university in social settings, they support the university, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But here, when we're talking about them just being ambassadors, it's the representation that they give to Nichols State University every day by simply being affiliated in some way, whether they graduated or transferred out and continued their career someplace else. They have an impact on us, and so therefore, they do count. Now, you can't invite the accountants into the room without starting to talk numbers sooner or later. So I just wanted to share a couple of things with you. Where we stand today, current tuition and fees paid by our students are approximately $4,000 a semester, $8,000 a year. Okay, this does not include housing or meal plans. One full-time student enrolled contributes approximately $3,000 per semester to the operating budget, $6,000 academic year, right, fall, spring. The other part of that is going to be for restricted fees, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. So what does that mean? Okay, and again, this is where I kind of got hooked into the presentation because we were talking about, just rationalizing it, putting things in perspective. So in perspective, 100 students, which is what typically for the last 3 years leading up to today, we were sort of looking at those increases year over year over year. This year, because of COVID, as you heard Dr. Kloon talk earlier, we are forecasting down. And that's going to be a challenge, but we know that we can overcome that. 100 students would be approximately, to the operating budget, approximately $600,000. That other component, that other $1,000-ish, round numbers, okay, goes to help other programs, our building use fees that handle deferred maintenance, that handle our athletic programs, and some of the other capital projects around. So what does $600,000 do in the operating budget? If you look at the approximately 722 full-time positions that are in our operating budget, $600,000 on average will fund approximately 10 of those positions, along with salary and related benefits. Or $600,000 pays for approximately 60% of a 2% increase that we, in the 1819 and 1920 years did. We did not do one in 2021 because of the challenges that we had. And now, because of some of the legislative support that we've gotten, faculty get a raise, 2%, as Dr. Kling mentioned, classified get an adjustment, and then unclassified likewise will be getting a 2% that the university is providing in the operating budget. If you also look at it just in terms of total line items, $600,000 is approximately the same amount of money that we budget in the operating budget for all travel across campus and our library acquisitions. Those are two critical components, as you heard Dr. Clune talk about, in professional development and travel. And then obviously library acquisitions deal with the resources that our students need in those settings so that they can defer costs, whether it's OEMs and so forth. The balance, as I mentioned, on tuition and fees really help us with student programming, health services, recreation center, athletics, building use fees for deferred maintenance, and some of the academic enhancement areas as well. The last area that I kind of wanted to talk about this morning and why every student counts deals with development and advancement. We know that one of the key areas that we, the university, would like to focus on is scholarship. The university hosts or sponsors, if you will, pays, whatever word you want to use, approximately $5 million a year to provide scholarships to students. Athletics, there's an additional amount included. And then after that, we count on donors. Every student counts because they motivate donors through their success, through their personal plight. They motivate donors to create those scholarships. Also within the development and advancement area, we've got the Alumni Support. Because of their attachment, because of something that happened when you interacted with those students, they became alum, and because of that attachment, they're going to be supporting the university. It's important that we develop those relationships. Again, perspective. During last fiscal year, 21, approximately $4.9 million was received in donations through the foundation for capital improvements, endowments, scholarships, and general support. The other thing this is the plug, because now, as Dr. Clune had mentioned, when we reorganize some of the vice president areas and so forth, development and advancement, now I get to work in my vertical. So just a quick plug, Jeremy Becker asked me to remind everybody that the annual fund, it will kick off in the fall of 2021. More information is going to be coming out. We'll be sending out emails and so forth, but I just remind you that is an important part of our development activity because it shows that we, the university, have skin in the game, and then donors are more apt to come forward. So one of the things that I just wanted to wrap up today on is talking about a mnemonic, okay? The easier way to remember some of this stuff, right? So today we talked about budget management. We talked about recruitment and retention. We talked about ambassadors, numbers, development and advancement. In other words, every student is the brand of Nicholls State University. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'll introduce myself as I'm pulling up my PowerPoint here. I'm Kaisa Young, and I am a department head for chemistry and physical sciences. And I formerly was the general education program coordinator a couple of years ago. And so I'm actually here, as Dr. Westbrook mentioned earlier, to talk to you about institutional learning outcomes. How, as part of our academic master plan, we are adopting these institutional learning outcomes. So I'm going to try to be brief here, but basically I'm going to talk about a little bit about how we got here, why are we adopting these as our institutional learning outcomes, and what does that mean? What does that mean for students, and for you and your programs. So here they are again. Communication, critical and innovative thinking, ethical reasoning, information and technology literacy, and quantitative reasoning. And I gave the general education website because you can find them there, because these are our general education core competencies that we adopted and are now taught throughout our general education courses. How did we adopt these? If you haven't been around the past few years, a few years ago, we actually surveyed campus. We talked to students and faculty and staff, and we asked, what should a graduate of Nichols be capable of? And we gave lots and lots of options, right? But through more conversations, through town hall meetings and committee meetings and other conversations, we sort of focused it to these 5 core competencies that you can see reflected. This is some of the survey data. For example, critical thinking and problem solving became critical and innovative thinking. Oral communication, written communication, teamwork, we all sort of lumped that under communication. So we sort of focused ourselves onto these and came up with the 5 what are now our institutional learning outcomes. Another piece of the history that Dr. Westbrook mentioned is our academic master plan. Again, it was a bunch of faculty and administrators getting input from leaders across campus, and objective 3.5 was to promote the development of these broad competencies in our students by adopting institutional learning outcomes. So that's why I'm here. We are adopting them. And importantly, they are aligned with general education. And I think that as you begin to think about your own program, your own courses, that they're also aligned with your degree program learning outcomes. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. So here they are again, just for reference. Keep them in the back of your mind as I'm talking here. So let's start with, what does this mean, especially for students? Because for me, that's the most important piece. Students are why we are here. We want our students to succeed. We want our students to gain from what we do. And so by adopting institutional learning outcomes, that means we are going to embed them across our curriculum, not just general education anymore, but everywhere in your major courses. You will get a chance to reinforce them, and hopefully your students will master them, right? That is our goal. So our students can leave here, they can go to their employer, they can say, I know how to think critically, I know how to understand information and technology, I can communicate well. So we need to elevate their importance in our classrooms by making explicit connections for our students. It may seem obvious to us that some assignment requires critical and innovative thinking, but we need to tell our students that it does. And we need to increase their learning by applying it to what they're interested in, applying it in our program. That as a high impact practice is to take these things and apply it in our major programs. So that's what gets me excited, is helping students succeed. For us as faculty, I hope you're already kind of thinking what this means for you. One simple thing, just be clear with your students. Tell them why you're assigning something. If you know that you're already doing communication assignments in your class, put the institutional learning outcome on your syllabus. When you hand out that assignment, tell them we are building your written communication skills or your oral communication skills through this assignment. I know that you're already doing it. I know that you're doing it in lots of different areas. So let the students know that. But I'm also very passionate about making us better as teachers, as educators. So I'm also here to encourage you to try something new. If you look at this list of 5 learning outcomes and say, I wonder how I could fit that into my class, there are resources for you. The Center for Teaching Excellence has a ton of resources. There are people on this campus that can help you in your course. I've reached out to the library to integrate information and technology literacy in my astronomy class. And I'll highlight something that's coming later in the program. Eric Pillar is the faculty fellow for the CTE. He's going to talk about writing across the curriculum. This is perfect. If you're like me, you're worried about how do I grade 100 papers, I'm sure he's got some hints for you. Okay, so think about trying something new. Big picture though, what about our programs? As faculty, we want to pour into our programs. I hope that you have already thought about where these things are already happening, not just in your courses, but across your curriculum. If you are governed by an accrediting body, then probably they have something in there about critical thinking or communication or ethical reasoning. Renee Hicks is going to talk about our curriculum mapping. So that's going to be a piece of this to help you to see your entire curriculum from general education into your major courses. Again, if you're already doing it, it's great, but think about branching out a little bit. The institutional learning outcomes are an opportunity for you to look at your curriculum and say, how can we best meet our students' needs? We are giving the faculty the power to do that through major specific courses and other ideas that you might have in order to give your particular students the skills they need for that particular career. So that's really big picture. But I need to sort of talk about one other implication here that is a little bit narrower in focus. And that is, how does this relate to university required education? So for those of you who may not be as familiar with this, university required education is separate from general education. It is specific credit hours that our students have historically been required to take in oral communication, writing, and computer literacy. And I put up this long list of courses here just so that you can see what other programs do. Some programs use one course, like they may use Speech 101 for oral communication, but other programs, nursing, music, education, may use a whole series of courses. This is why it's not general education, because we can craft it to be major specific. So I hope you're seeing some overlap with what I've already said here about institutional learning outcomes. We believe that by adopting institutional learning outcomes, where we are embedding them across the curriculum in general education, but also in our programs, that we don't need to have specific credit hours, those 3 hours of this or 2 hours of that, because students will be introduced to these competencies and you will be reinforcing them so that they can master them throughout your curriculum. And it's not just a couple of them anymore, there are now 5. So the institutional learning outcomes is actually broader than just communication and computer literacy. It is now also the critical thinking piece and the ethical and quantitative reasoning pieces as well. One thing I do want to talk about is that part of what went into the decision to not require specific credit hours and a focus on competencies instead is that SAC-COC and the Board of Regents doesn't require specific credit hours. The state used to require it way back before 2013, if you've been here that long, but they're no longer required. And so we can reduce complexity for our students. We can help them to succeed through our program, retain them through our program by allowing them to gain these competencies in our program and not just by checking a box for specific hours. You may have a lot of questions about that. That may open a lot of discussions in your department. I hope that you do, because the next step is to have those discussions. Have them at the department and the program level, maybe the college level if that's appropriate, and begin to say, what does this look like for us? What are we already doing that we want to keep, that we like? What's that try something new that we can do? Again, Renee Hicks is going to talk about curriculum mapping. That's going to be a piece of this. And another piece is to formalize it. Dr. Westbrook mentioned having conversations this year. Let those conversations lead to an assessment plan, where if you make changes in your curriculum, you're going to justify them, where you say, how am I actually going to do assessments? We have rubrics that we've developed as part of general education. Again, they're on the general education website, but you may have a rubric from your accrediting body or from your program. We need to formalize this a little bit and make a plan, because this is going to become part of our 5-year program review cycle. But this is the year for those conversations and to see how it works. To help you with those conversations, I put my contact information up here. You are welcome to reach out to me. I know a lot of people across campus who can help you. I've already mentioned the library and the CTE. Now in general education, we have Heather Gamble and Elka Staley. They're very good with these things. I know the people that help to write these competencies and write these rubrics. So please reach out. We'd be happy to come and talk to you, answer more questions, but start talking about it. What does institutional learning outcomes mean for you and for your program? Thank you very much. I'll hand it to Renee.
All right. Apologize. I am technology savvy, but I'm not Mac savvy. Okay. I'm Renee Hicks. I'm Assistant Vice President of Institutional Effectiveness, Access, and Success as of April of this year. As you heard, there has been a reorganization. I was an Assistant Vice President under Dr. Alex Arsenault, who recently left the university. And when that happened, I was reassigned under Dr. Westbrook. And I am now serving over a multitude of areas that we have strategically put together and I think have a greater chance of impact due to increased communication and collaboration between some very dynamic areas that are in charge of student success. So it's been a really great beginning because we've had some meaningful conversations and a true awareness of what each other does and how we best serve one another. So this is the new org chart. I know you probably can't read it, but these might be shared with you later. But just as an update, what is currently under my lineage in the organizational plan is enrollment services with Courtney Casord, student success and retention with Dr. Amy Hebert, of course, still institutional research, effectiveness and planning with Melanie Collins as institutional research and Sarah McCann as institutional effectiveness. Our academic services center under Cambria Beauregard is under me, and as well as international student services. And to me, this is our magnificent seven. We are empowered when we say we are focused on recruiting and access and success. These women are truly passionate at getting students here, keeping them here, making sure they are included, they are empowered, they are engaged. So we are definitely very focused on that every student count initiative. Now, my other hat is that I serve as SACS COC liaison. So of course this year is very busy for us because we are busy preparing our SACS 5th year interim report. Why is it interim? Because it's a stepping stone between the 10-year decennial report. Doesn't mean it's less important, doesn't mean we don't have to pay great attention to it. It is a pared down version. We don't have quite as many reports to write. But what SACS has done is rewritten their principles since our last 10 years. So we are having to address some things combined in a different way. So we are being very meticulous, reading those drafts, making sure we are answering every question. The advantage we have is several people on campus actually serve as SACS reviewers. Myself, Dr. Clune, Eugene Dow have been on visits recently. So that gives us the advantage of seeing how these new principles are being interpreted and what the misfails might be happening. So we can be ready to address those here. The core requirements for this time are addressing our faculty, student achievement. We are required by the federal government to post student achievement data on our website. That is available on the Institutional Research and Effectiveness and Planning website. So I invite you to go look at that. They are also questioning program content and program length, and that we provide appropriate student services. And in all these things, we're not just looking at what we're doing face-to-face. We're looking at what we're doing for Nichols Online. We're looking at what we're doing for exceptional students, how we're addressing the needs of all of our students. And of course, the next important component of this year's is our SAM follow-up report. So we get to report back to SACS on what we have done in regards to our QEP and how successful that has been. So the review for the 5th year is completely off-site. So we have no visit face-to-face, which is good and bad because we are a great hospitable campus, and we, for our last decennial, made a huge impression on our team. Our team was very impressed by the culture and by the spirit of our faculty, that they knew our SAM QEP had been adopted from the input put in by you, our faculty. So we don't have that advantage. So, and non-compliance on the core requirements I showed you for this 5th year could result in the university placed on warning. And now, due to new federal guidelines, if we do encounter a warning, we have to develop a teach-out plan for all of our constituents to have eyes on, which is not something we ever want to do, and is why we are pushing you so hard to help us be completely compliant, as we were in our 10-year. Our 10-year, we were exceptionally well done because we did not have to do a single follow-up report. And as a reviewer, I can tell you that is quite exceptional. It is highly unusual that a school does not have to do any follow-up following an on-site visit. Okay, so in light of planning and continuous improvement and what SACS wants us to always be doing, in the last year before COVID, our huge team of people inputting developed an academic master plan to be implemented. And as Dr. Westbrook stated, many of the components of this plan have already been brought to light. And so this year, we've decided, because we didn't have the face-to-face year that we wanted, this year we're going to really start focusing on implementing that academic master plan. And to us, the most logical thing is to incorporate it in existing processes. We already do an annual plan process focused on our operational goals within the university. So as part of that process, we are dissecting our academic master plan and creating it to where you're still going to get the feedback from above. Dr. Westbrook will set priorities that will fall through to the deans and down to the department heads, and for non-academic departments as well. Some of these pertain to student affairs, to other support areas such as the ones under me for access and success. So all of that will filter down through the annual plan process. To do this, we have secured new technology and are beginning to implement it, and I will get more into the technology as I progress. So goal 1 of that academic master plan was to enhance existing programs and develop new initiatives. As we have heard, several new initiatives are already coming out. But I was privileged to be champion on objective 1.1 and 1.2, which involved conducting comprehensive review of all of our programs. And 1.1 is regard to undergraduate, and 1.2 is graduate. So again, we went back to what processes already exist, how effective are they, could they be improved, what are the shortfalls. So what we have right now is an annual plan process that involves our operational outcomes. We, of course, report annually on student learning outcomes, and there's also this 5-year academic review process for all of our academic plans. So all of these processes, though, existed in silos and didn't really feed each other in any meaningful way. And they all existed in Word documents or Excel templates, so no way of gathering information easily. As the deans and Dr. Westbrook can attest, to pull together their summaries, they had to pull a selection of multiple separate documents and try to bring them together as a cohesive instrument. So there was no coherence, no connections being made, and we wanted to align the processes of these 3 plans to be a comprehensive review of academic programs. So as part of that, we, again, sought out technology. So this is the direction we've gone in technology. Some of this is not new to you. I just brought it together because now it's all under one umbrella. And I'll tell you why we feel like that's an advantage to the entire campus. So Watermark is the umbrella that all of these solutions are under. You have been using the first, which, just as a side note, Watermark recently renamed many of their systems. So if I slip up, excuse me, but I put the former names in the PowerPoint as well, and I included them on new faculty because I figured when they heard existing faculty talk about digital measures, they wouldn't know what they were talking about if I just included the new faculty success. So what you normally do for your annual evaluation, digital measures, is now called faculty success. Course evaluations and surveys is the new name for our evaluation kit, which is the online version of the student's evaluation of instruction. The new component this year implemented was planning and self-study. They didn't have to change that name because they had named it appropriately to start with. They're trying to make all of their names more functional, and that is the function of that software. It helps us to do the planning process. The one that Sarah McCann and I are actively involved in creating right now is Student Learning and Licensure, which you may have heard of VIA. This replaces our Portfolium. Portfolium just wasn't meeting the needs of our areas the way we had anticipated it could. So we have sought out a new solution, and so far we are quite pleased with the simplicity, ease of use, and still the huge functionality that this has, and where we're seeing the advantages. So we have been very busy this summer building your rubrics that were in Portfolium to have these ready to go for next week. And the next one coming online is Outcome Assessments Projects, and that was being called Aqua, which we don't have to get used to because it wasn't implemented yet. But that is going to be for more of a global assessment. When we do assessment that we want to do sampling and assess things more broadly, like our freshman reflection piece, that then will be implemented in Aqua. Okay, so good news is not another login and not 5 more logins. We have put Watermark on the Nichols State University single sign-on page, so when you get there, if you have access to any of these Watermark products, you will see a Watermark link. Once you click on that, you will see the Watermark single sign-on page, which will have a box for every system they have that you have access to. So if you don't see one, be patient, we're getting there, it's coming. And of course, you won't have system administrator. This is my picture of my single sign-on page. Okay, so faculty success for those new, this was formerly digital measures. This is your VITA. This is an electronic way to keep up your VITA. It's your teaching, your research, your service. It's used for your annual evaluation. The beauty of the umbrella and having all of these under the same company is soon we will be able to choose to put our faculty evaluation scores right into your digital measures. So you will have access to that as well. Course evaluations and surveys is loaded directly from Moodle. So your students get Moodle alerts when the evaluation's open. They can get access to any of their courses within there. You also have access to the system through Moodle. as well as the system sign-on. So you normally won't have to worry about going to your single sign-on. As per request by Faculty Senate, we open the actual instruments 3 weeks before finals, so that we're close to the end and as much of your instruction can be finalized so that it's a fair evaluation. For many terms, we do it only 2 weeks, so that a little more instruction can happen, so we can make sure we're at that same percentage of evaluations being completed. We stop them at midnight, the night before the first day of finals. So during finals week, students are not doing their evaluations. Those have been completed. At that time is also when you as a faculty member cannot see the percentage of your students who have replied to the system. So it kind of is, finals is kind of a dead time. Nobody can see much, nobody can reply, but that changes immediately after grades are posted. We open the system so that all final reports are there. So not the beauty of us having to scan thousands of pieces of paper and you wait months for your results. Results are more timely and can be used for you for continuous improvement. Planning and self-study. What we have found is that this system is pushing us to make sure all the building blocks of assessment are in place on campus, which is amazing. We are going through the pieces one by one, but it has been a learning experience for us. It has given us new light to assess what we have done in the past, and I think it will definitely project us into a new level of being able to really continuously use data for improvement. All the processes are going to be in one system. The beauty of having, when you do 5-year program reviews and you're having to seek out where did I do the annual plans, where's this document, where's that document, it's all in one location. We are making every effort in IR to put embedded in the template for your program review any data we normally provide as attachments within the section they're needed. There's a lot of smart links in the system, so if your mission is in the system already, it's already going to appear on the page that asks you to report about your mission. When we ask you to make the ties to the university mission automatically appears. So it's a very intuitive, smart system. It's going to help to alleviate some of the duplication in reporting. It's going to put all of that at your hands to keep track of where things are, and you won't have to be pulling out and reloading and making PDFs that all exist in one system. It also has a great section for accreditation reports. So we downloaded the template for the SACS 5th year report, but we can pull down any other accreditation body. We've pulled in AACSB, we've pulled in KCREP, we've pulled in ABET, and we also have the ability to customize any templates we want to use other than those. So there's a lot of tracking and scheduling in it. So if you are responsible for one of those reports, it's easy to assign and to track and to see what is being accomplished. At the academic program level, you're going to be doing academic program reviews through the system. I want to thank the few programs that went through last year. They were extremely patient. They were positive about the system, and they really did an amazing job in getting it done. All of those academic programs have now put in missions and learning outcomes. We have also put in the institutional learning outcomes, and now we are working with you on curriculum maps. For the non-academic or the academic department level, when you think of a department, then you're talking about operations. So we are working on operational outcomes at that level. And part of this is going to be useful to implement that academic master plan. We're creating outcomes that we are sure cover all functions of a department, so that when we come to the improvement within an annual year, it's easy to tie to a real outcome. And this system also allows us to link all of this to the strategic plan. So we talked about curriculum maps, and I'm hoping this isn't too small because it's a screenshot. And thank Dr. Ronnie Fungi because we using his curriculum map, which he did an extremely good job on. But this is what a curriculum map looks like. Very visual. I'll click one more time. So at the bottom, Sarah helped me to make this a little more visual. In each course, what happens is you load all your courses for your program, and your outcomes are listed down the left side of the screen, courses across the top, and it's literally a matter of clicking the little dot, and you have the choice of saying, I'm introducing this outcome, or I'm reinforcing this outcome, or I'm mastering this outcome. And then I can flag where I'm assessing this outcome. As you can see, one of Dr. Fungi's goals is effective communication. So we wanted to show you, once you have those goals in there, this is how you would align to goals. So he can go into here and show his outcome and make those decisions and show where his things are being done. As an assessment person, as an assessment point in his curriculum, as you can see, there's going to be a place that says add measure. Within that, he can go so far as to say what course, assign a faculty member, and have specific responsibility in place. We've all seen it happen that a person leaves the university and they had done an assessment in the previous semesters, and we get ready to write an accreditation report, and that person's not here and that data has gone with them. This ensures that will not happen to us, because it's going to be collected in a place that when that person leaves, the data lives on. So outcome map. So let's show you, this is what outcomes look like. And I went up to the College of Business Administration. These are AACSB outcomes. So their first is communication. And just to show you, on this map, I clicked on that one and said, how do I align this with the university? So at Nicholls State University level, I can align it with our institutional learning outcomes. But if you notice, I also clicked on Dr. Fungi's communication, and he can be aligned straight to this AACSB outcome as well as up to the university one. So it gives us all those levels of aggregating up so that we can see what we are doing university-wide. For the academic master plan, these are operational. They're going to be part of the hierarchy of the university. We're implementing this now, so expect to see some input from us very soon. The student learning and licensure side that we're implementing, you're going to see some course assessments out there. We're building assignments right now. All of this will link to Moodle. Your students will not realize they're going into this system because the assignments in there will literally embed straight into your Moodle. And the assessment results can tie back straight into planning and self-study. This replaces Portfolium. We are building rubrics right now. We can build assignment templates. If you have a course that you have the same assignment that repeats year after year, semester after semester, we create it as a template. It will automatically be populated in every section that you create moving forward. And just to show you, we're showing you what the freshman reflection piece looks like within this system. This is the template showing it from what a reviewer would see. So where you see the question is not changeable by the student, and then below that is where the student would input, and when it comes up to the reviewer, you literally put in the score. To the right side, you see the rubric and the levels of achievement across the top, the criteria across the side. You can scroll over and it shows it bigger. If you notice as well, where it says view rubric details, there is an arrow where you can open the rubric fully. If you have a multiple screen, you can pull the rubric to another screen and be able to see the entire rubric easily. Coming soon is the outcomes assessment. This is going to be for program and university level. This is where we do sampling. Some of the gen ed, I know in English, they do writing papers across several sections and then pull them together as assessors. And we also do our SAM assessment by doing that. Much to the disappointment of some people, I'm not going to show you a great deal of data. I knew a lot of other colleagues were going to present data today. We are disappointed to see some of the shrinking of our retention rates, But now with my new group of my Magnificent Seven, we are totally focused on keeping every incoming student now serviced and ready to proceed, and we will try to mitigate the damage of that moving forward. But what we have done is data dashboards, and I invite you to go look at those on the Institutional Research and Effectiveness page. And I just am giving you a sample. These are the dashboard menu that you will see. When you click on one, like I clicked on first to second year retention, it drops down a multitude of choices where you can drill down to college, department, major level to see what your incoming freshmen look like and how they are retained. We also did college breakdowns just to show you a glimpse of what that looks like. And what's coming? Okay, so this year what we are focused on, obviously SAC's fifth year report takes some precedence. We are still doing our implementations of softwares, as well as being very focused on that academic master plan implementation. And of course we are eager to provide more dashboards. As we get data requests, we are definitely considering whether it's a broad enough request that would feed the need of more people, and creating new dashboards to solve those needs. As far as the new softwares are concerned, I put my contact information, but Sarah McCann as well as IE has been working hard with departments to help them with the curriculum maps and the other requirements right now. So if you have any questions on that, let us know. If you have any feedback on any of my areas, feel free to reach out at any time. We are focused on excitement for our students and continuous improvement within our areas. So we want your feedback at all times. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Renee. As part of the academic master plan that was instituted in 2020, a Center for Teaching Excellence was envisioned for Nicholls State University. The center has become a reality under the direction of Dr. Amy Hollander, who also serves as an assistant professor in the Department of Teacher Education. New this year, the Center for Teaching Excellence will have its first faculty fellow who will work with Dr. Hollander to provide professional development to all faculty. Dr. Hollander will now talk about the exciting initiatives of the Center for Teaching Excellence for the upcoming year, and Dr. Eric Pillar will talk about the initiatives of writing across the curriculum and writing within the discipline.
Thank you, Dr. Westbrook, for that introduction. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. One moment, please. My name is Amy Hollander, as Dr. Westbrook stated, and I'm in teacher education. And you can contact me either through my teacher education email or at cte@nichols.edu. So we've only been open for about a year, so for our faculty who have been very busy going high flex in the last year, as well as for our new faculty, I just wanted to introduce our mission, vision, and goals as a center. So our mission is to support you all and promote and enhance effective teaching and student learning on this campus, as well as encourage the scholarship of teaching and learning and serve as a catalyst for institution-wide high-impact learning. And what's wonderful is I get to work very closely with other groups on campus, including the General Education Committee, the library, and all of the departments on campus. Our vision is to champion the advancement of inclusive teaching, learning, and the use of technology. And every year, our programming is around our goals, which is to include increasing academic excellence and student engagement through inclusive pedagogy, quality course design for all delivery methods, innovative use of technology and strategies, continued professional development for new and existing faculty and teaching assistants, and support and promote pedagogical research. So who are we? We are a one-woman center right now. I'm the director, and then I have a wonderful advisory board that consists currently of 23 faculty and staff who represent all colleges and most departments, and I do lean on them very heavily in understanding our needs for campus. Additionally, I do a self-assessment every fall, so you will be receiving an email probably around October. It's a needs assessment survey in understanding the needs that you all have from the center. Additionally, I have 2 graduate assistants who I'd like to introduce you all to, because you'll probably see them on Zoom or in the classroom, and that's Darian Robertson. She is in counseling, and Logan, who is in business. And then you all will be meeting Eric very shortly. He is my faculty fellow this year. So what services can we provide you? And we can provide these services to both individuals, groups of faculty, and departments. Some of the things that we can provide include faculty consultation. So if you've received either your mid-semester feedback or your end-of-semester feedback and want to go over your evaluations and understand ways that you can improve your instruction, we are happy to meet with you. Additionally, we can meet with you on course design. So if you are interested in scheduling a consultation, please visit our website, and then there's a link, and you can schedule one. And you can have consultations over winter break as well as over the summer. So it doesn't necessarily have to be during the school year while you're in the middle of teaching. We also have a calendar of events that will be updated probably at the end of this week. Please visit it. We do email once a week what's happening as well as monthly. And we also provide a lot of different faculty programs, including book clubs, writing camps, and collaboration workshops. So if that's something you're interested in, please check out our website and read our emails. This year we're going to be focusing a lot on accessibility and universal design for learning, and we'll be providing many resources on that. We also have a faculty fellowship program. We take 1 fellow a year. You do have incentives to becoming a faculty fellow. You get a course reduction and some summer pay for the work that you do, and you get to work with faculty from all across the campus. If this is something that you're interested in applying for, applications will be going out in January, and selection usually occurs during spring semester. Additionally, we do provide a lot of different resources and websites, so please come visit us. So we've only been around for 1 year, and in that 1 year, we provided 28 programs covering educational technology, inclusive pedagogy, and evidence-based practices in teaching. And even during a pandemic, I'm really proud to say that we had 170 faculty and staff participate, which is just amazing. And I appreciate every single one of you who has come to one of our sessions. We also read 3 books this summer. We had book club. About 8 to 15 participants from all different colleges participate each semester. And we read Small Teaching Online, Minds Online, and Radical Hope. All these books are still available in the library as digital copies, and I will be presenting to you what we'll be reading this fall shortly. We also provided teaching assistant Moodle and inclusive pedagogy training, and if departments need teaching assistant or learning assistant Moodle training, please contact us. We are happy to provide that. And additionally, Academic Affairs helped us send 8 faculty to the Teaching Professor Conference in New Orleans, and so you all will be seeing their presentations throughout this year. So what's coming up? Well, Miss Nicole Cotton, who is our Moodle guru on campus, if you haven't met her yet, you probably will real soon. She will be providing weekly Moodle topics and question and answer sessions each week. So if you are trying to do something on Moodle or have a question, please stop in. I will be presenting on Universal Design for Learning this year. There will likely be once-a-month programs where we will introduce UDL and then talk about different ways that we can incorporate Universal Design for Learning in your courses. Other faculty will be presenting on topics from spring and summer conferences. And we have Dr. Eric Pillar this year who will be presenting on writing across the curriculum as well as within your discipline. Workshops this year will be on Mondays and Wednesdays at 3:15 p.m. They will be high flex, so we will record everything that we do. We also will be using some Thursday afternoons as well, and we advertise everything a month out, so you guys will be receiving some emails about what's coming up very shortly. All workshops will be recorded and posted on our Moodle page, and we are working on getting a YouTube channel up. We're really lucky that we get to partner up with the library, who have been amazing, and read the book Ungrading by Susan Blum. This book has been very popular across higher education, and it discusses alternative grading schemes that you could try to implement in your courses. Additionally, we will probably workshop with Dr. Drew Seawald from the University of South Alabama, who does implement many of these alternative grading schemes in his courses, and he will be visiting us hopefully in December as well to work with us. We also are breathing new life into our STEM Pedagogy Journal Club. Dr. Kaisa Young and I started this a few years ago, and Dr. Olivia from Chemistry, Maggie Bruce, and Lila Landry will be starting that up as well. And I invite other disciplines to please start some journal clubs. I will help you organize them, and I will also help you advertise it as well and get those started. What we do is we read a different how to teach and learn in your discipline paper each month and discuss it. And what's beautiful about these journal clubs is you get to talk to people from other departments that you normally don't get to talk to and build some collaboration and future research projects. Additionally, we are going to be programming some learning communities this semester. Our faculty fellow will be leading some of these learning communities, and I'm not going to give it away. I'll let Eric talk all about that. I was trained this summer in creating an inclusive STEM pedagogy learning community. My background is in science, so that's why it's focused on STEM. And I will be opening that up in October, and you'll see a lot more about that as well as an information session. But all STEM faculty are welcome to join us. It will be a joint learning community between us, the University of South Alabama, and the University of Western Florida. And again, if you are interested in creating another learning community, I absolutely welcome that and would love to help you with that. For my non-STEM folks, we will be creating an inclusive learning community for you as well. And I will be looking for subject matter experts to help me get those off the ground. Please save the date. We are going to attempt a teaching and learning day in December. It's going to be called Great Ideas for Teaching Students, or GIFts, since it will be around the holiday time. And what we will do is in the morning before Gumbo, we will all meet up in the library and we will have some time to share some of the innovative teaching that we have done over the past year and a half, 2 years of COVID teaching. But additionally, we will have some workshops going on in inclusive pedagogy, advising, alternative grading, etc. So please be on the lookout for that. That will be December 10th. It will likely be around 8:30 until Gumbo around noon. So we can all walk over and get our Gumbo together. Please check out our website and look out for our emails. If you can see that, you can QR scan for our website. We will be updating it constantly, probably over the next week, and you will start getting bombarded with some emails from me. Please don't immediately delete anything from the Center for Teaching Excellence in your inbox. All events and programs, again, will be advertised in your email as well as on our calendar of events. And finally, I am a faculty member as well. I'm part-time in the classroom and then part-time CTE, and so I just want you all to know that we've got this. We can do it this year. And all we can do is do our best. And I might be saying that more for myself today than for you, but I hope everyone has a wonderful semester, and please join us for the programming that's coming up this year. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce you all to our first ever faculty fellow, Dr. Eric Pillar, who is an assistant professor in English, and he will be discussing his university-wide initiative.
Good morning, everyone. It's always lovely to be the last item on a program. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about the Faculty Fellowship Program briefly, writing in and across the disciplines. So before I go into the specifics of the programming, I want to talk about what WAC and WID are, writing across the curriculum and writing in the disciplines. The way I've usually heard it explained to me or to others, and I've just been a bystander, kind of eavesdropping, is WAC is writing to learn. It's really well established that writing, very active writing, is a way of improving your knowledge of something, right? And we can talk about that later. So WAC emphasizes writing's usefulness as a learning tool, regardless of the discipline, right? So writing to learn. Conversely, writing in the disciplines is learning to write in a particular discipline. So learning the conventions and the genres of writing in the sciences, for instance. So the goal of our program is to promote writing across the curriculum and writing disciplines at Nichols, obviously. And actually, whenever the QAP for SAM was selected, I guess 5 years ago or so, one of the runner-ups was actually writing across the curriculum. So I do think it's kind of an interesting mix there. I didn't know that until after I proposed this, or while I was writing the proposal. So why do this? So from a kind of more pedagogical perspective, writing really should occur in most college classes, not only in English courses, in my opinion, because writing does play a key role in pretty much every discipline. If we imagine a discipline as the kind of scholarly conversation, the kind of body of knowledge that's continuously contributed to over time, so that we have improvement of our collective knowledge, right? Writing is pretty much the main engine of that aspect of the kind of scholarly conversation. So Anthony Atala, a scientist, this is just an example. He said, effective writing is just as vital, typo, sorry, to science as mathematics is, and plays a tremendous role in moving scientific research forward. How ironic to have that typo about effective writing. Okay. But here's the rub, right? Genres and other conventions, they do vary pretty drastically across disciplines. And that does raise the question of whether English faculty should be solely responsible for the teaching of writing. Probably not, would be my answer. As I've mentioned, the very active writing can clarify thinking and enhance learning. This is very established, long established by scholarship and research. If you want my citations, I'm happy to share them via email, my sources. And then finally, writing is a highly complex activity that takes a great deal of practice to improve. And transferring writing knowledge and skills across contexts can be a formidable task. Just because I'm good at writing academic essays in the humanities doesn't necessarily mean that I'm great at, communicating with other people at parties, as I know too well, or writing journalism or in some other kind of context. So as the WAC Clearinghouse puts it in their guide for teachers and administrators, 1 or 2 writing classes just can't provide enough daily practice over the course of an undergraduate program of study. English 101, 102, they're critical, but on their own they may be insufficient, depending on the level of breadth of writing ability that we're talking about and hoping for. Obviously, as Kaisa mentioned, we have the institutional learning outcomes, and one of those is communication, so this aligns very well with that. In terms of the schedule, it's going to work across 2 semesters. We have 4 workshops. All of the workshops are occurring on a Thursday at 3 to 4 p.m. I have a 6-month-old, and we're not doing daycare, so I apologize if that's not more flexible. But I'm also happy to talk with you individually, and you can see the recorded workshops if that time and day of the week doesn't work for you. But so later this month, we'll have an overview that will just be addressed to any faculty who are interested about WAC and WID. September 30th, we'll look at writing and nursing. October 28th, we'll look at writing in the fine arts. And finally, in mid-November, we'll look at writing in STEM. At the same time that all this is happening, we're going to work on an online resource hub, sample assignments, readings, other kinds of material that could be helpful to anyone hoping to implement writing across curriculum and writing the disciplines in their courses. And that should be complete and published on the CTE website, as well as on the writing program website by late December. Spring, rather than doing just general workshops, we're going to have a continuous learning community and reading group that will meet monthly. Obviously, that's a little, that's a semester away, so you'll get an email in January with information on how to sign up if you are interested. So if you do have any questions, comments, ideas, if you want my sources, like I said, just please feel free to contact me. You can find my contact information on the Nichols website, just like with all faculty. So I look forward to hearing from you, and I wish you best of luck this semester.
Okay, thank you, Eric. And I know that this has been a long morning. We've introduced a lot of information to all of you, but I do, on behalf of the university administration, want to thank all of you for attending today. I look forward to the work that you will be doing in fall 2021 semester. And as a reminder, please check with your dean and the department head for the dates, times, and formats of your college and department meetings later today. Thank you so much.